I think it's very fun. Thank you. All right, it's 4:45. I would like to call this meeting to order. Today is Monday, November 18th, 2024. It is 4:45, and we are at the Arvin Education Center for our regular monthly meeting of the Oldham County Board of Education. It is a little bit early because it is Thanksgiving, so we moved the meeting up a little bit. Sir, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, ma'am, just to approve the agenda as presented.
Board members, any questions? Can I get a motion to approve?
I got a question.
Oh, yes.
Are we gonna bring up at December work session some of the allocation of the extra funding we have from Ms. Six? I wanna look at, after the SBDMs, and we can talk about it today.
Can you
or-
turn your microphone
Oh, I'm
down?
sorry.
Thank you.
We could talk about it today or December 2nd about maybe sending some of that money to some of our elementary schools for intervention for the second half of the year.
If the board would like, we can add that to the December 2nd meeting that we,
session.
work session, special call that we're planning to have. That can be something the board can discuss, and we can do that.
All right. I know there is 2 schools and the SBDM for elementary's done, and I think 2 schools need the help, and we need to give it to them.
Okay.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Made by Mr. Dennis, seconded by Mrs. Clem. All those in favor? And that's 4-0. Pledge of Allegiance. How about the welding students? Could you all lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Didn't mean to put you all on the spot there, sorry. Thanks. Okay, sir, first up.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to invite Mr. Bohannon and our architects. They're going to present as part of our operational session this evening about facilities and construction projects and things that are upcoming and currently happening. So, Mr. Bohannon, thanks for being here.
All right. Thank you all for having us up here for the for the instructional session tonight. Like Dr. Radford said, we're going to be introducing a couple of our architects from our design teams that are working on some of the larger projects we've got going. And then after that, we'll run through a facilities construction update after that. So first off, I'd like to introduce Matthew Harris with Studio Kramer Architects to talk about the Oldham County High School and the Buckner High School improvements.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Also, Richie Hart is with me as well, just to introduce him. Okay, so this is the Buckner High School, Oldham County High School improvements, and I'll direct the pointer over here so you guys can see. This is the main entrance to the facility off of 393, and just for a little bit of context, the existing school is right there, and
Just past the cafeteria, right?
that long corridor that separates the Buckner and Oldham County, that's where we're starting. So in this image here, this is our new gym. This is our alternative school, Buckner High School. And just for reference, you'll see some later images. That's the gym, the high part of the gym that bumps up that actually has different LED lighting that can light up and kind of be of a beacon right as you enter the school. So I'll just run through these. A lot of these images you've seen before, but we've got some new ones just to kind of we'll run through these. So this is the new floor. Everything in gray is new construction, and that's the edge of the cafeteria. Then we've got gymnasium. This is Buckner. That's the daycare, and then this is all new parking. And then what's interesting about this project is we'll be able to have entrances for the gym, for a daycare, for alternative school, and in the back part here will be kind of overlooking all the athletics. So there's really no back door to this facility. So this is an image of the lower level, main entrance to the gym here. This is the entrance to the Buckner High School. This is the entrance to the daycare. And then we've also got two large multi-purpose rooms here and here that can serve the Buckner High School as well as Oldham County High School. And what's interesting about this space here is these bleachers, we've got two overhead doors here. These bleachers here will reverse fold, so that space can bleed in to have some more extra space for any type of gathering in there. This is the one image on the right, it's the lower level. So you'll see it's got, let me go back one. So you'll enter the gym at the mezzanine level. So you'll have bleachers, you'll enter this main concourse here. So you'll either go down in the bleachers around the bowl or up on the bleachers. And then here in the back is a standing room students. We thought that as a student section. This next image kind of takes you, oh, wrong way, sorry. So this is the lower level of the gym. So once you go down to the gym floor, we've got a new weight room here. We've got locker rooms on both sides. We've got the home side and the away side, and the home side would actually enter the court mid between the bleachers. And this is the upper level of the Buckner High School. So lower level comes in at this stair, and then you come up to all the classrooms. There's 10 classrooms ranging in sizes based on the function, and there's 2 resource rooms, and they've got some extra admin space on the second level. And I'll run through some renderings here. So this is the view, like from here, from Arvin, looking that direction. This will be the entrance to Buckner High School, and that's the entrance to the daycare. This is the view off of the back. All of the sports facilities are along this edge here, and on the lower level here, you've got a weight room, and you've got the upper level of the student section of the kind of that standing room only section. And then off the back of the daycare, we've got a playground area that can be used for the school, but also for people that are coming to ball games and things like that. This is the main entrance to Buckner High School. Not much to say there, that's just entrance.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, absolutely.
With security, I went to Floyd County, some of their schools, and no one makes it into the school.
That's correct. That's correct.
So will this be like an entrance and a stop door, so no
Yes.
one can get
Go back
past
a
there
couple.
or come in the office unless needed?
You can kind of see, this is the entrance here. They'll come into a vestibule right there, and they can't go any further without going into the reception. In that room, that last image I was showing you is the reception. So they'll be let in at that front door, and then the receptionist will kind of.
So there will be a window there, so
Yes.
if any
Yes.
business needs to be taken care of, it can be taken care
That's
of
correct.
through that window.
That's correct.
Perfect, thank you, sir.
It's the typical secure vestibule that we've been doing.
All right, will the new south renovations have that, or is their front office not gonna be
I
changed?
have to defer to Brent and
There's an architect, but it will have There's an architect.
So it will have it or won't have it?
Sorry, the secure vestibule?
Yeah.
It's currently, the south port is currently there. They have the ability to lock that down past the entrance point.
All right.
The safe schools vestibule, that's what you're referring to?
I'm just saying where business can be conducted in the
Like a ticket
vestibule.
window or anything like that, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's what we need.
A ticket window?
Well, that's the new safety around.
So we do not currently have that in the plans.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, both entrances for the daycare and the Buckner High School have the same secure vestibule entrance where you're let in with the A-phone or the fob, and then you're met with a person, and you can't go any further.
Perfect.
Which,
So that, we go back on that. Underneath the letters.
That's the secure entrance for the Buckner. That's the secure entrance for the daycare.
Perfect.
For Buckner, this is how you'll be met after you go through the secure vestibule. And the next image here shows a little bit this area to the right. That's the secure vestibule, and this is how, if the person is led into the school, they come through this door right here. They don't come through this second pair of doors. And in this view here, that stair takes you up to the Buckner classrooms, and then this is the long corridor that has all of the admin areas, and at the end of the corridor is the multi-purpose room for their use. And this is the image of that multi-purpose room. So you're kind of entering from the left here, and it's just a big open. It's around an 1,800 square foot space, and there's a prep kitchen here that they'll be able to bring food down from the main high school and serve students from this space right here. And this is an image of a typical Buckner High School classroom. Got teaching wall, and you got teacher area over here, and we'll have 2 stations for teachers and storage in the back of the room. And this is a view of the main space for the daycare. Has 4 classrooms off of it, and then some ancillary spaces off the back. So this would be the kind of the main play area. And this is the new entrance to the gymnasium. So this is off that main plaza off the first image we showed you. What you'll see here is the connection between the high school and kind of like, because the high school has this long corridor all the way down, and we're picking up on that long corridor and almost kind of directing you all the way through the new addition to Arvin, really. And that's what this line is right here, cutting through. And then you enter. There's two entrances for ticket for games, and then there's a double-sided concession stand right here where you can kind of circle around that during an event. You can kind of use that as a concourse area. And this is an example of the lower level home locker rooms. Has the resilient floor, the kind of the poured epoxy resilient floor. And this is kind of an aerial view of the weight room by the company called Play that did the design of those. So it's kind of a dark image, but they've got all the squat racks here, and it's kind of hard to see, but there's treadmills and bikes over here, and some more Nautilus machines here, and then the running the indoor track on the inside, track surface. But we have a view kind of showing all that equipment. And what's interesting about this space is this is the underside of the student section, so that really opens up this whole room to the back. So kind of you have a nice view of the sports facilities and from both directions. Yeah. So this is kind of an aerial view of the gymnasium. So all the bleachers all the way around come down to the floor. You can kind of get a sense of each corner has these little areas, little platform areas for extra. You can see you'll be able to see that in a different rendering, but just wanted you to see the overall kind of view of the gymnasium. So this is a view from the concession stand area. In the back here, that's the student section overlooking the baseball and football field. You've got the entrance here for the players, and then this is that kind of that LED area that kind of you can change the colors to have at 4 different functions, and kind of get a better idea of these little platform areas. Each corner has those.
So Matt, the visiting team is that front right bottom corner? Is that where they go in and out?
They come out the ends.
Okay.
Under the 2 platforms on that side, they will come in this way, and the home team will come in through the middle.
Come out through the tunnel?
Yeah, through
Okay.
the tunnel. And that'll also have the LED lighting, so kind of like directional. Yeah. could add to that.
I think that you might have seen in one of the earlier renderings where there was a bus sitting off of Colonel's Drive there. We've got it kind of set up so that everything on the home side and the visitor side is separate. So that there's actually a staging area where buses can unload the visitor team, and it would actually come through the top right-hand corner of this rendering and be able to access the locker rooms at the lower level, come out on the field, and then exit the same direction. So we don't have a lot of intermingling of that, and then also during the daytime, all day, every day, is where the Arvin buses can stage before they're ready to get in order at the current time to pick up.
And we do have a four-sided digital display, as well as displays at either corner, at each corner, to for score, for sponsors, whatever. So the last image, we talked about this, the flexibility of this gym, of how we could use it for different functions, not only for Oldham County High School, but also for the district. So we also rendered a view where this gym could be used as a commencement. So we got one more view of that. So we're showing it as if South graduated there. So it's the same image. It's really, the same rendering, but you can see the back row of the bleachers here would retract back and put a stage. The basketball goals would retract out of the way, cover the floor, and you get about 450 seats on that covered floor.
Matt, is that on the floor? You said 450 seats on the floor?
Yes, that's what we're showing. And you can see there's a little bit of breathing room as well, but that's where we stopped on the rendering. So, is there any questions about any of the images?
How many does the stadium hold?
I'm sorry.
How many people does the stadium hold?
So
Besides the floor?
Right, with the fixed seating, with the bleachers and the student section, we're around 3,700. 3,690, somewhere around there. The chairs we're showing is 450. The student sections holds about 400 of the standing room, just based on the square footage. You can just kind of calculate it that way. And probably, if needed, you could probably squeeze in during a game about maybe 25 people on each one of those standing corners. So you're looking for a game, you're looking at around 3750. But the max capacity of the gym per code is around 4,500.
All right. Any other questions for Matt? All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
So as part of the consent agenda tonight, we'll be asking the board for approval of the construction document milestone review. Yes, please, thank you. For this project. Another couple of parts that are more, I guess, a little less architectural, more of programmatic. If I go back a couple slides here, for day-to-day function. Another thing, if I get to the floor plans here, as you can see, with creating the gymnasium venue, it also creates a lot more. It requires to have a lot more plumbing fixtures, and then with the secondary spaces outside of Little Colonel's, the multipurpose rooms, and some of the multipurpose rooms outside the above the Little Colonel's area that Matt was talking about. Really frees up a lot of space for specialized programming that the school could utilize. And another thing it does that's kind of a secondary to what we're trying to do is it brings more students to this end of the building. Currently, the edge of the cafeteria is kind of where the function stops for the high school portion for Oldham County's student use. Occasionally, they'll be down there in the current auxiliary gym, but this really starts to utilize some spaces down here where we can actually use some instructional spaces there. It frees up a lot of strain that we currently experience on the core, and it gives us the ability to utilize these restrooms down here so that we can start to go into the core building and some of the older parts of that building and start to renovate that down the road as well. So there's all of the facilities in this are designed standalone, so for building code capacity, plumbing capacity, for these functions, but it also serves another purpose to help relieve some on the rest of the building.
You're going to have partitions in the bathrooms for the boys, right?
I'm sorry?
Partitions?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And then also another point, I think we discussed this probably at the design development review of it. Each of the main restrooms off the venue, and get into that a little bit more detailed here probably with the pointer. But so each of the gang restrooms will be staggered so that they can be accessed from the concourse or from within inside the venue, or both. And each of those, so you'll have a male and a female restroom on either side. They can be accessed from the gymnasium side, and also one on either side that can be accessed from the concourse. And each of those, whether it's inside the venue or inside the concourse, also has a single-use restroom associated with that too. So not only do you have those restrooms available, but you also have the single-use restrooms on both floors of that as well. I'm sorry, both inside and outside the venue. So a lot of the plumbing issues that we currently have on the high school, we'll be able to address those now because we've got some relief down here at this end of the building. And also with bringing kids down to this end of the building, it gives us the opportunity to, like I said, release some strain on the core classroom building so that we can move forward with some renovations that need to happen down there. We talked about in the past, we'll go into windows, HVAC, plumbing, interiors, upgrades down to that part of the building as well. Okay, if there's no further questions about that project, I'd like to introduce Beth Bauer from Ross Tarrant Architects to present design development review for South Oldham High School.
Hi, good evening.
If you need it.
Okay, so this is the design development phase. I just wanted to point out where we are in the process. So we still have quite a bit to go. All of construction documents are CDs. So this is going to be all of the information from the DD phase. So we're starting with an aerial, and I just want to show how we're going to build the project. So the orange, which is this right here. First, we're going to add an addition for 22 classrooms. After that, we will demo a large portion of the interior of the school and add a fine arts wing, also the cafeteria and kitchen and the main spine of the building. And then after that, we'll renovate all other existing spaces minus the front admin addition, which was done a couple years ago. So the entire building will be touched as the phases go through. So I'll start with a floor plan. This is color coded just because there's a lot to look at here, but light blue, this is the majority of your typical standard classrooms. Darker blue, these are going to be your specialty spaces. Red is the media center. So you'll see that the media center is broken out, kind of spread across the building. Basically, it's going to be a two-story part that kind of extrudes up through the school. And also there's these collaboration spaces at each end where the circulation occurs so that as students are traveling throughout the day, they have the ability to have collaboration and utilize some type of breakout space. Additionally, the cafeteria, which right now is very much landlocked, very short, very dark, it is going to be opened up. There will be a lot of volume. There's going to be clerestory windows, which will go around the top, so it will bring light into the center. It will be very much like a night and day difference from what they currently have. So we're really excited about that ability to open up the cafeteria. Even though it's still landlocked in the middle, there will be light, and it's going to feel very large compared to what it is. Then the big part of the Fine Arts Edition is an auditorium. This auditorium has a balcony. It's about 800-ish seats right now. We're still working through the layout of that, but there's a very large platform here. The way that we've designed it, there is going to have to be a ramp, and this is going to be down about 4 feet from the main elevation of the school. And so as you go down, you're going to be at an elevation that kind of from the back of the auditorium, you can walk around the perimeter to the stage without having to go down. So it's accessible, and then the middle part will slope down. As well, next to it, there's the band and chorus suite, and a large welding area that's actually the appropriate size. So we're excited about that. And one of the main features, when we get to the renderings, you'll see the lobby is going to be a really nice, like, key space to the school. It's a major front of it, and it's going to be a really nice space for gathering and for any type of event that you have in the auditorium. This is a combo of the ground floor, which is the green, so that's the lower part of your gyms. Those are all at a different level, but we're pretty much just doing renovations there. The biggest change is that we will be taking away the stage and adding weightlifting, and then up on top, so if I go back, this is going to be a training suite. So those two are utilizing that space that's left over once the stage goes away, since we're adding an auditorium. For the second floor, which is this part right here, you can see that we have some more of the standard blue classrooms, but the science department takes up a good part of the middle. So the science labs and classrooms wrap around the media center, which this is the upstairs part. So we kind of are setting up that the first floor is more like the archive part of a media center, all the books and more your traditional, like, working with like objects from a media center. Upstairs, this is more digital collaboration, so it's kind of like two zones that you can use. And then we're also setting it up that the media CTC space is able to utilize that and have that adjacency. So it's working out really nicely with that. As well, one of the key features is the social stair, and that is able to kind of bridge diagonally from the cafeteria to the media center and really start to stretch the inside of the building. And it's something that, for something that is so short and compressed, it's just going to breathe in some air and space into the building. And then on top of the kitchen, we have some more CTC spaces for the culinary, the fine arts, the FCS, and the digital media. So all of that is wrapping around, and it does create a link that goes around to the balcony, so you have like a second story that's continuous, and you have elevators that access it all. So moving forward, this is a rendering of that social stair space. This is actually where the courtyard is right now. So that is a space that most people don't even see on a daily basis, but this infills the courtyard, and it just adds volume. We're looking at a lot of materials in there that will be wood, very warm, something that does engage the school spirit, but also is very elevated and sophisticated, and just, something that this is not an elementary school. So we're trying to celebrate the education that's happening, and just really kind of make it an elevated space. So this social stair, we imagine that it can be used during cafeteria times. The cafeteria can open out onto it, so you kind of have a double use of your corridor, which is a main access for the day, but also space that students can eat there. They can, in the mornings, they can gather there. We really think this is going to be the social hub and heart of the school. Tucked underneath it is a spirit shop. And then over here, this is the art room. So on that main axis, one of the key things that we wanted to look at with South Oldham is the culture of creativity, and how do we celebrate the artistic nature of the school. So having this as like a main, almost like an art gallery style that continues that entry hall from the admin edition and incorporates display for 3D objects and paintings is what we imagine in here. So this is the addition from a couple years ago of the admin suite, and this is what it will look like when we're done. We're going to take that language and just kind of, run with that and apply that to the rest of it. One of the key things, I'm going to go to the next slide and skip. When we add the auditorium, it is going to step out closer to the road. So it's going to be very prominent, and we want to make sure that the front door is accentuated. So in order to really make it clear, this is the front door, we're adding a canopy that very much directs you to the front door. So students, on a daily basis, this is one of the main ways that kids come in, that will point you to the front door. It will also de-emphasize this large volume that's being added, which is more for like an event, so not on a daily basis. So that's one of the strategies for that. Let me go back to the slide. So the existing social areas, those will remain, and with the design of the front, we're basically taking that and kind of repeating those circular and organic shapes around the front of the school. There's a major grade change. There's about 9 feet that it's dropping, so we're using that to terrace down towards the football field and ticket booth. As well, you'll see the language of this addition really picks up on that admin addition. So in the end, it will look cohesive and like it was always meant to be that way. Using the same materials, incorporating the metal and all the glazing. Basically anything that is bronze will be turned to aluminum. So we're doing like a full metal change on all exterior elements. So this is that front plaza. This is the classroom addition corner. This is kind of a little more subtle and downplayed, so again, it doesn't scream front door. This is where the buses will drop off. There is a grade change. You can see there will be some stairs on that side, but we're creating a sidewalk that will go all the way around. And then that's all that we have for rendering, so we're now full steam ahead into CDs, construction documents. So any questions?
How much can you build that school for?
Well, right now, the cost opinion is about 80 million for that. And so that's the full renovation and additions. And the auditorium is a very large space that's being added on. Every surface is getting touched. So if there's any existing windows, doors, those get replaced. Everything gets painted. All flooring will be new, all ceilings will be new. So it's a full reno.
Right, but if we built a new school, it'd be 80 million?
It would be a lot more. So I have one right now that is smaller than this school, and we're looking at 150 million.
All right.
And that one will bid in the spring, and it's about 1,200 students. So I would say you're probably above 150
All
for
right,
new.
thank you.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
As part of the design development stage that we have currently been working through at the beginning of this month, Denise Schindler, one of our project managers, and I met with all of the teaching leads and administration at South Oldham High School to get feedback on what's currently working in their building and a lot more of what's currently not working in their building so that we can start to incorporate some of that into the design. They were a little disappointed that I wouldn't share any of the renderings with them until after you all had seen them. So I think we were joined by some staff today that were anxious to see it and wanted to see it at the first opportunity you have. Did you want to discuss anything that we had talked about in that meeting? I know that you. Yeah.
Well, hi guys, my name is Suzanne Rocky. I'm the lead teacher for English at South Oldham High School. This is my 21st year in the county and my 21st year at South. My son, when we lived in Jefferson County, I paid tuition so that he could go to South because I knew it was top quality education. And I have watched South go from, at the time in 2004, it was fine. And as the decades have gone on, it's getting dark, it's getting tight. I mean, our hallways have shrunk every year with the growth because everybody wants to be out here, right? Because it is so great. And I just really hope you guys, as we are moving forward, we're always about getting better, moving forward, moving on, bigger things. And I think the renovation, as it's proposed, will go miles for teacher morale. And as a county, we have always been super proud of our schools, and I think as we go into the next generations, it needs to be a state-of-the-art facility so that we are reflected inside and outside. Teachers we put our heart and soul into South, and I'm a lifer, I will be forever now, and so I just really hope that you'll consider the proposal because we're excited about it. It gives us classroom space. It gives us the kids space to gather. It gives the teachers places to gather. It moves us into some of those collaborative spaces for that, that new century type of knowledge that the kids need to have. So we're really excited about it, and I hope you guys will consider approving it because I think we need it. It's time.
Yes. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. So as mentioned earlier, as part of tonight's consent agenda, we'll be seeking DD approval, design development approval of this so that our architect team can continue to develop these plans and incorporate some of those things that we talked about with the teaching lead and administration in the past couple months. Another part that this is a big undertaking. Obviously, it's a lot of money as well. There's been I've been asked a couple times, why now? Why is it time for South? This South was constructed in two parts that were immediately following each other. I think it was 88 and 89. So this now South Katy has a 30-year timeline on a building that's constructed before you can do a major renovation. So we've surpassed that timeline now. We started to do that before COVID, but we had to get the Safe Schools entrance in to get that established by a deadline. So that's why we did that phase first on that, and then this would be the next couple phases or the next portion of that total building major renovation and additions. As part of that, being such a large undertaking, it will be difficult at times to live with construction. I think that's probably an understatement for any of the principals who've lived through construction with me or my predecessor. But the phasing of it and the sequencing of it is such that that we're going to recommend that we bid this job as a construction management job instead of a general contractor job. The difference of that would be that the construction management contractor could either be at risk or not at risk, but they would have control from start to finish of the project. It would be phased out in a way that would be the most easily constructible, but also a lot easier for us to live with while we're under construction. When we do separate phases of piecemealing of projects, sometimes we don't have any other option but to do. You end up with a separate contractor, a separate set of construction documents, a separate set of contracts, and inevitably you end up with where someone else left off and where someone else picks up. Having a have this bid as a construction management project instead of a GC project, you have that continuity from the start to finish, even if it is a multi-year, multi-phase project. It also opens us up the opportunity to do things in future phases or future sequences, I probably should say, as it becomes available or necessary, not just when summer starts and summer ends, and where a certain contract starts and a certain contract ends. So that's something that we're going to dive into a little bit more during our work session in December. And I can bring kind of the pros and cons to that to you all, and we can discuss that a little bit further.
Mr. Bohannon, approximately with this project for South, approximately once the project commences or starts, about how long would the construction take place, to just give perspective to the board?
If we were to do it bid it as one project, we could actually shorten that timeline down a little bit, but it's still going to be at least a 2-year project. I mean, probably a 30-month project realistically. And if you broke it into phases, then it would basically, you're not adding years to it if you were to stop and start multiple sequences. So I would conservatively say a 30-month construction period right now. We'd like to see that probably more down like 24 months or less. Okay. If there are no other questions about those two presentations, I'm going to briefly go through the construction report just to give you all an update on some other things we got going on around the county that are already under construction. And how am I doing on time? Okay. The preschool expansion and roof replacement is currently still under construction. The walls are constructed, the masonry brick is completed on the addition. The exterior doors have been installed, and the interior construction of the addition is underway. That roof has been dried in so that we can continue on to some of the interior work there as far as HVAC goes. The anticipated substantial completion for that project is January 2025. The site access in various elementary school Phase 2 project, the more commonly known as the playground projects. LaGrange Elementary's playground renovation has been completed, and kids are on it, and there it is, and are enjoying that. Centerfield is underway. The contractor has mobilized out there and has the playground equipment on order. Also started under construction currently is Camden, Locust Grove, and Crestwood Elementaries, and the demolition phases of that, and putting together some of the storm structures and underground facilities on that. The rest of the projects are sequenced by the contractor. The only stipulation that we currently have with them is that we progress we don't tear up all the sites at one time. They take a chunk of these, get it to a level of completion that we're comfortable with before they go tearing up another site, so that we don't have every elementary school torn up at the same time, but they're sequencing and finishing in a systematic manner. Is it me doing that?
Oh, I don't know what it is.
Someone's got some firecrackers there, Mr. Bohannon, just trying to keep you on your toes.
The district-wide landscape and site improvement project. Tonight, we're requesting design development document approval for the entirety of that project, and we're also requesting that the board approve construction document approval for the Centerfield portion of that. The Centerfield Elementary bid package that we're proposing includes the wayfinding, site signage, and it's kind of the prototype projects that we'll be able to put that out in the street, be able to get bids back, see where we are with our budgeting, and as well as our design for those types of features, and then take that lessons learned from that project and implement them around the district. The current project schedule for that is, like I said, construction document approval this month, advertising in November with the pre-bid meeting in December, out to bid in December with the contract approval coming to the December board meeting. So we'll have an opportunity to review those bids at that time. With the East Campus bid package following shortly behind there, we wanted to do one standalone school so we can see how this project affects that, and then also take that to a campus view, because there's a couple of extra elements that will show up in the campus that aren't on a single school. All right, I think I've talked enough for now. I think you got some other Bohannons to hear from tonight, so I'll cut it off there.
No fans, Brent?
Sorry?
No fans?
Fans?
Fans
What about the fans?
on here for the gym.
What about-
The fans for the gym. The ceiling fans in the gym at North.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
The fans in the gym at North. We had
What-
talked about that before.
Okay, I'll have to follow back up with
Okay,
you on
we'll
that.
talk about it later.
I've completely forgotten we had that conversation.
That's okay.
The fans that were blown off in the tornado have been are being installed, though. That's where my mind went, so I'm drawing a
Okay,
blank on that one.
We can talk about it later.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
I've got a couple of questions, and you probably know where I'm going.
I can't imagine.
A lot of money tonight.
Yes, sir.
First off, I want to know how that's going to affect the Arts Center.
Mhm.
And secondly, it says the Arts Center is still a feasibility study. Isn't that over with now?
The feasibility portion of that kind of still continues until till there is a land acquisition or the board decides where that's going to go. It's really the feasibility of where we're going to put it is currently still up, and I think you are having conversations about that tonight in executive session, and maybe there's an action that might come out of that.
Is there too much, we gonna have enough money to build that Arts Center?
Yes, sir.
That's all I need to know.
Okay, and then on our December work session, I think Baird Financial will be joining us to give the board an update on where we are financially and where we are with our bonding capacity currently, and with these projects included, and with the future projects coming up, sir.
And Mr. Bohannon, before you, thank you. That's a lot of information and great detail, so thanks everyone, our architects, and to you and your team. Could you also just share with the board about the next steps with the core building for OCHS?
Yes, so like I said earlier, once we kind of relieve some of that pressure on that as far as the infrastructure goes with the restrooms, and we've already got the basis or the infrastructure installed for like HVAC renovations on there. We really need to free up some space of that core, which we're hoping that this will help with. But meanwhile, while we're in construction with that, we're going to be able to shift our design focus down to that end. Some of the aesthetic things that we want to accomplish is really tying in the older portions of the building to what we're building currently, so that it looks like one consistent building from beginning to end, similar to what Ms. Bauer was talking about at South Oldham High School. I think that it also opens us up for the opportunity to, now that we have this going out under construction beginning, what does the next phase of that core look like, and what does it look like in today's world of instruction? As Ms. Rocky said, there's things that were constructed in the 80s and 90s that aren't real functional for how we teach and how we learn today. And a lot of those things can be implemented either in existing building renovations or by these addition renovations that we're talking about.
Thank you, sir.
You're quite welcome.
What are we doing for our? Okay, student showcase. It is South Oldham High School.
No, I think it's that one.
Oh, cool. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I love it.
Allison, okay.
That's so cool. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good evening. I will pre-warn you now, I have this nasty cough that keeps coming, and the more I talk, the more it's gonna start. So my team's gonna help me out here, but thank you for allowing us to be here and do this showcase. We're super, super excited about this crew here. So okay, I can control this. All right, here's a part of our team. I'm Melissa Woosley. I think most of you know me. That didn't help. I think that's worse. I'll just keep going. Ashley Webb, I don't know how many of you all know, she is my associate principal, but she is actually a former CTE teacher within my building. And so she can talk about that in a little bit. Mr. Declan Jacobs, who is our welding instructor, and, oh, it wasn't updated. Little Bohannon is what we call Cooper.
He was unsure until last minute.
Yeah.
I can be there.
And we've got Brady Schatt and Jaheim Bonner. And these are second-year weld students, and the things that they have accomplished this year is huge. So this is the team that'll be presenting to you tonight, but I wanted to make sure to introduce everybody. Okay, I'm gonna let you kick in because I'm gonna start coughing, and she'll roll from there. Kind of our story of how did we even get to having a welding class, and the journey. So we'll tag team it.
So in the fall of 2022, Dr. Smith tasked us with surveying all of our students across the district to see what type of opportunities that we may be missing that we could provide our students. So in fall of 2022, we had 855 responses, and those were from students from South Oldham High School and also our feeder middle schools, so South Middle and East Oldham Middle School. And once we got that, we kind of started diving in and analyzing the data. One of the things that we noticed was the current South Oldham High School pathways that we currently offered. That was still high interest for our students. So we were on the right track there. That includes hospitality, dietetics and nutrition, early childhood development, consumer and family management, and also fashion and interior design. That one was left off of there. Currently, those pathways, we have 400, I don't know. We have 400, yeah, and 5 students currently enrolled in our family consumer science pathway. So it services a lot of students. We also surveyed and got results back that, the pathways that we have at Arvin are also in demand, our business, computer science, engineering, and health services. We also had high interest in 2 other areas. One was pre-law studies. We looked at, investigated turning this into an official CTE pathway. We're still working with that. We've got some certification issues with the occupational certification, but we do offer dual credit through JCTC for pre-law studies, so we still have that opportunity there present for kids. Another one that was high interest was graphic design. Again, we're working on getting these complete, official pathways, but in the meantime, we added that as an elective so that students can explore the opportunities within the career, or the graphic design pathway. We have one of our art teachers that was a former graphic designer who came in as an alt cert to get visual arts certification, so he's offering graphic design as a course. And then that led us to welding. So out of the 855 students surveyed, 180, which was 20% of our students, were interested in welding. And I think that comes from, if any of you have been associated with South, we used to have industrial maintenance or wood products manufacturing as a pathway, and Mr. Penner retired and we were unable to fulfill that spot back. And so I think that created a void in some of our learners who are very hands-on, who like that work. So we weren't necessarily surprised by the interest that the welding, the interest in welding. From there, once we kind of navigated and decided, you know, welding was going to be the area that we were going to focus on, this was a big task. We're like, okay, how are we going to create a welding facility? And we were hoping to get it up and running that following year. So thanks to your all support, Mr. Bohannon, Melissa, and I took off and we started looking at different welding facilities around the state of Kentucky. We started at Greater Crossings, which was in Georgetown. Their facility was phenomenal. And we walked away, we're like, oh, are we even gonna be able to do this? You know, it was.
Georgetown literally, I think paid for the whole thing, and it was
It's beautiful.
2 floors, unbelievable, and we got scared. After we visited, they were like, I remember Bohannon looked at me and I was like, dude, I don't know, man.
We have an old weld shop, or an old like wood shop, and we're like, can we do this? So then we went and we visited, I think, PRP next. And theirs was like a wood shop room, which was the space that we had, and we were like, okay, this is doable, you know, this is the space we have. And then we ended up at the local 502, just talked with them about the different opportunities that they have that we could offer our students once we get welding up and off the ground. Spring break 2023, construction began, and we were moved in, construction complete, classes started by the fall of that year. So we had some amazing quick turnaround time. They felt like they were waiting
That's
forever,
unheard of in
but
construction
yes.
world. I mean, I know the question was asked earlier, because that's always the question I ask, and I appreciate you asking again, like, how long is this really gonna take? Because it is important, because what it means is opportunities for kids, and what they made happen is like unheard of and incredible. So we are super grateful for Ellen and Jason both really pushing the high school principals and middle school principals on what do we see through the CTE pathways to push our kids further and give them other opportunities. So if you look at that kind of that initial conversation to October of 2024, it's unreal what we've made happen, and then what we're getting ready to see is powerful.
So so last year was our first year of welding. We were really hoping to get it accredited through JCTC to offer the dual credit opportunities through there, and you know, they were like, well, it takes a little bit of time. We wanted everything like right then and right there, but we just found out this past month that Mr. Jacobs was approved. Was approved to be an adjunct professor through JCTC, and that our facility was also SACS accredited to offer those courses for the spring of this year. So we're excited for that. We also are at max capacity, you know, so we're turning students away who want to get into welding because it is continuing to grow. So we've kind of filtered that, and we're allowing upperclassmen to do it. You know, the younger ones are looking at everything that they're doing, and it just creates that excitement. We're going to show a video that Lori Webb put together for us. Can you push play?
Keeping everyone on their toes.
speak loud.
I've dealt with welding for the last 58 years, and it's not an easy business to be in. It's hard, but do y'all teach the API 704 gas pipeline welding also? After you get through the salad, you get through pipeline welding. You talk six figure, you're talking a lot more. Because you can really make money, because it's begging for pipeline welding all over this country. I can give you 4 contractors right here in town that would love to have that pipeline welding. So it's something I want to think about, when you get out of high school, go into a little bit deeper, API 704 pipeline welding, and you will have a career, I guarantee you.
Well, another one of the things I was telling you guys when we were prepping and talking about what to expect tonight, with the JCTC program, one, that is kind of, in the next couple of years, getting a larger facility for the money can be $1,200. And you can leave with credit from holding, college hours and go straight into JCTC for probably a complete free ride. And you can get access to that. Right now with our smaller space, we're handing out the opportunities that are a fit for us. So it's what you'll learn, but you'll get new space.
Y'all are teaching all the parts, like the TIG welding, the MIG welding, the stick welding, teaching all the parts.
Especially since it's going on though, where you can start having.
With that, it'll roll right into that specialty stuff.
Cool. And so what made you want to make the change?
I kind of always had that fire burning ever since I was in high school. I was kind of like Brady Shad. Like, I was like, my teacher's right in, man, and I could trust him to go watch something. I could trust Cooper to go run the forge, kind of be my second set of eyes. So I always had that kind of inkling in me to I guess, just help.
That's great. That's great. What's your all's favorite thing you've made?
The last competition we made a box. I think that was my favorite because it was
Bauer had presented today incorporates the full CTE welding classroom as part of that fine arts wing. And we can look at that again a little bit closer in December when we get to our workshop.
I think the more space we have, too, the more we're able to offer things like pipe welding or exotic metals like stainless steels, aluminums. Now we have to work with what we have and cover the basics. And then, like with our industry partners like 110 sheet metal and 502 pipe works, then they can
That's great. Great job.
Thank you all so much for being here. That was wonderful. Next we have recognitions.
That's crazy.
Creature of habit. Yeah, it's a creature of habit using the mic. Got 3 awards we want to recognize tonight, and that's our Ignite Passion Award. We have three people we want to recognize. First, just to give you a little bit of background about our Ignite Passion. Ignite Passion Award recognizes individuals or groups that have demonstrated exceptional commitment and efforts in fostering passion and enthusiasm with Oldham County Schools. So first, Goshen Elementary's Ignite Passion Award winner for tonight is ELL teacher Mara Carson. Ms. Carson works tirelessly to demonstrate exceptional dedication and creativity in fostering a collaborative and inclusive learning environment. By engaging families through regular communication and involvement in school activities, Ms. Carson has built a strong support network that reinforces student learning at home and in the classroom. She has celebrated student achievements, big and small, ensuring each learner feels valued and motivated. Throughout the school year, her unwavering commitment to student success has been evident through personalized instruction, thoughtful feedback, and innovative strategies that meet the diverse needs of all learners. Ms. Carson's efforts have created a thriving community where every student is engaged or is encouraged to reach their full potential. Please help me give a big round of applause to Ms. Carson and have her welcome her as she comes up to the floor to be recognized. Our second award is Oldham County Preschool's Ignite Passion Award winner, and that's Elizabeth Griffin. Ms. Griffin is a wonderful example of a dedicated employee. She is present for students at preschool daily and has supported students with complex needs while maintaining a positive outlook. She is student-focused and is always willing to problem solve to best support the needs of the classroom she works in. She participates in whole school activities and lends her time and talent to the preschool whenever she can. She is consistent, kind, and positively impacts those who have the privilege of interacting with her at work. She builds lasting relationships with students and staff, which is incredibly impactful for students at this age. Ms. Griffin adapts well to changes and the unexpected things that happen daily at preschool. Please help me recognize Ms. Griffin. Okay, our last recognition for this evening. Finally, in recognition of her exceptional work as an instructional coach and colleague, South Oldham High School has nominated Dr. Christine Price as their Ignite Passion Award winner. Dr. Price has consistently demonstrated a profound commitment to mentoring new teachers and empowering them to discover and harness their strengths as educators. Her collaboration with district leaders has been instrumental in ensuring that South Oldham High's instructional programming remains innovative and effective, positioning our district at the forefront of educational excellence. Dr. Price's positive presence and unwavering support have made a significant impact on the teachers across the district, fostering an environment where everyone feels valued and inspired. As a trusted advisor and mentor, Dr. Price has cultivated strong relationships with many of South's staff, providing guidance and encouragement that leads to professional growth. Her dedication to the success of both adults and students makes her an invaluable asset to our educational community. In every interaction, Dr. Price embodies the spirit of an unyielding cheerleader, celebrating the achievements of her colleagues and students alike. Her passion for education and her commitment to fostering a supportive and dynamic learning environment truly set her apart. She is a remarkable leader and advocate for excellence in education, and her contributions deserve to be celebrated. Please help me welcome Dr. Christine Price. Please help me give a big round of applause for all of our winners tonight. And Madam Chair, I'll turn the meeting back over to you.
Okay, Ms. Alexander, you're next. Come on down.
All right, this treasury report is for October, and I'm going to start with report number 2, which summarizes all of our individual cash accounts. And as I've mentioned in previous months, we're currently experiencing our lowest cash flow of the year. However, we anticipate a significant increase in the cash flow next month. For instance, last week we received a $57 million check for our property taxes, which will be reflected in next month's report. This month, our balances are at their typical low for this time of year due to the seasonal cash flow cycle. So from November through February, that's when we receive the bulk of our revenue. In terms of expenditures compared to receipts, you'll notice on the sheet that we currently have about $15 million in disbursements from our governmental funds, and while our receipts were only $7.3 million. So our balance in the governmental funds did decrease from $37.2 million to $29.4 million. But despite that dip, we still maintain substantial balances in all our other accounts. And then, of course, with our tax check that will show on there next month, we'll be right back. If you look at report number 3, it just covers the account analysis. You will see that our revenues and expenses are consistent with previous years. Next month, we expect to see a more typical trend as revenues increase with the influx of tax payments. And then following the account analysis is your report number 4. It's just our traditional report detailing the general fund revenues over a 4-year period, which you can show, it shows comparable results. Additionally, we also have the balance sheet and the income statement included in your packet. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, any board members, questions?
Thank you.
Give a recommendation. Okay, motion to approve the treasurer's report made by Mr. Donovan, seconded by Mr. Dennis. All those in favor? And that's for, that was you seconding, right? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, next up, we have meeting minutes.
personnel report is in your packet, and just recommend that you take that under advisement as presented. Next up is consent items. My recommendation is for the board to approve the consent items as presented.
Questions, comments? Can I get a motion to approve? Named Mr. Dennis, seconded by Mrs. Clem. All those in favor? 4-0. All right. Superintendent reports.
Yes, ma'am. Invite Mr. Dees to come forward and share an update with you about some overtime regulations that we may have to consider. And this is not just unique to Oakland County, but Mr. Dees will go into that with you.
Yeah, well, thanks. I had a big, long presentation for you, but when we put the packet together on Wednesday and Thursday, and then on Friday, the U.S. District Court of the Eastern District of Texas basically put a halt to what we were going to talk about until further notice. So they vacated the administration's decision on the overtime rule, saying that it was too high of an increase in salary at the time and didn't go through the proper procedures and protocols as of now, which doesn't mean it won't come back. So there's not as much to talk about, but we do need to be ready in case it does come back. Currently, the threshold in 2024 was $43,888, and in 2019 the threshold was $35,568. And the one that they were going to pass actually jumped up to $58,000. And so it's just a big discrepancy over the 3-year trend. And so with that being basically put on hold, we don't know when it's going to come about, but what we have to look at and be ready for is if it does come back, we have to be ready to move pretty quickly. And basically what this idea and position is to make sure that workers who are hourly workers are compensated for their time at time and a half over their 40-hour work week. And so it's looking out for the best interest of employees and workers, and they have a litmus test you have to do if you want to be exempt from it. Teachers are exempt from it for their professional status along with several other groups, but a lot of our hourly employees would not be under the rule that just got put on hold by the Eastern District Court in Texas. So really what we're doing is we're trying to work with myself, Mr. Gravis, the finance team, and putting together a scenario depending on where that falls or if we have to, or maybe it goes away totally. We really don't know. But if we do have to make some changes, it'll basically be some clocking in changes, some other procedural changes, and a few schedule changes with the salary schedule will be proposed if need be on that piece of it. So I don't think I need to go into the whole report right now, but just know we're working on it. We might have to come back to you at a work session or in December if something changes, or in January. A lot of times they also happen in July. So that would be nice for us because it would start a new year for us. So we're just kind of on hold. We'll continue our work to be ready. But that came down Friday. We just hadn't had as much time to research it as since Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Next up, I'd like to invite Mr. Williams to talk about enrollment projections.
Welcome, Mr. Williams.
Good evening. As you are all aware, each year we do enrollment projections. I do apologize for usually I'm bringing them to you in October. I was attempting to wait for the Department of Records to give me live birth rates, which I have yet still to get after multiple requests. So we went ahead and we projected those numbers inside of projections through a calculation. As you can see, there are 4 ways that we project enrollment for the coming school year. We use a 3-year school specific trend. We have a 3-year district trend, a 5-year district trend, and a 10-year district trend. And then based on the prior year's accuracy is usually the trend line that we look at for projecting for the coming school year. So for the 25-26 school year, basically the most accurate trend line that we had was the 3-year district projection. And so that is our recommendation. But it does also say that we are going to decrease by 52 students from the end of the first month this year to the end of the first month next year. That's not out of the norm based on what we've seen over the last 5 or 6 years with COVID and everything else that's gone on. That number is actually down. So as that number continues to increase and we go back to the positive, eventually we'll see projections return to the positive growth. So based on that, we are projecting that we will have 11,826 students at the end of the first month next year. And I am more than happy to answer any questions.
Board members? I think so.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. Public expression.
What section? This part.
Okay, we have two speakers. Before we move on, Larry, go ahead.
Each regular meeting shall include a public comment period of at least 15 minutes. Any board rules and policies regarding conduct during the board meeting shall apply during the public comment period. The chairperson may require the name and address of the speaker. The chairperson may rule on the relevance of the topic to the board agenda. The chairperson may also establish time limits for speakers that may be required to maintain order and to ensure expedient conduct of the board's business. The board as a whole shall have the final decision as to the appropriateness of all rulings.
Two speakers.
4 minutes? That's fine. Are you gonna? 4 minutes?
4 minutes. Erica Skinner, you're first. If you'd like to come on down. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Erica Basil Skinner, and I have two sixth graders at East Oldham Middle School who also received an incredible K-5 education at Centerfield Elementary School. And I have a 4-year-old at Oldham County Preschool. I'm proud to say that all of my children have been supported every step of the way by their teachers and administrators at their schools. I noticed that all of you said the Pledge of Allegiance this evening, including the line, "With liberty and justice for all." Justice for all. I question whether or not you really believe that line. And I wonder maybe if you don't, not for all the kiddos in Oldham County. Not for the gay kiddos, the lesbian kiddos, the bisexual kiddos, the trans kiddos, the non-binary kiddos. Because back in July, you were fined stripping the language from Title IX that would have protected them, that protected sexual orientation and gender identity. And I know that doing so put us in line with the rest of Kentucky, but we could have been better. We could have been more forward-thinking. We could have been more loving. And we could have been more accepting. And instead, we gave into fear-mongering. That makes me so angry and so disappointed and so heartbroken. And it also makes me angry with myself because I had never once attended an Oldham County Board of Ed meeting until I learned about this. And no one I spoke with was aware that this was up for discussion, and so that's on us. And we're involved, but maybe not at the right levels to make a meaningful impact for our children. And so that's squarely on us. What did you think? Did you think that there aren't trans and non-binary and LGBTQ kids in Oldham County? Because if that's what you thought, you're wrong. Did you think that they only become gay, lesbian, and non-binary, and trans, and bisexual at 18? No. That's not how this works. And I suspect you know that. Our kiddos are here now. And they're learning in our classrooms. And you're supposed to be representing and helping those kids. And you failed those kids. You failed my kid. So speaking up now is for my kiddo. And it's for anyone listening with an LGBTQ or non-binary kiddo. And it's for me, because failing to speak up in the face of injustice changes you. So I urge you to reconsider the policy for Oldham County and bring all of the students under the umbrella of protection and under that flag of justice for all.
Thank you.
Next up is Lily Tanner.
Hello, my name is Lily Skinner. I'm a sixth grade student at Eastwood Middle School, and my pronouns are they, them. Back in July, you voted to take away sexual orientation and sexual identity from childhood. I feel that a certain population of your students are not protected, including me. Why are we any less deserving of respect and protection from discrimination than other students? I think you made the wrong decision. It can feel isolating to not have the same rights as other people. I am speaking to what other LGBTQ students will live with.
Thank you,
Thank
Lily.
you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We have a action item for the board, and that is to consider approval of letter of intent as presented in the packet.
Do you have any questions? Mr. Dawson? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve? Made by Mr. Dodson, seconded by Mrs. Clem. All those in favor? And that's Cora.
Last, we have informational items that, as presented in your packet, the board could take under advisement. I'm not sure if there are any board members that have any questions.
Okay. And executive session, Mr. Dodson, agreed.
As it comes up here.
Okay.
Okay. I don't need to know thing. At this time, I need a motion to go into executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810. 1B, to discuss litigation, preparation, or defense of public disclosure which jeopardizes the board's position. KRS 61.810. 1B, deliberations on a future acquisition or sale of real property by a public agency, but only when public publicity would be likely to affect the value of a specific piece of property to be acquired for public use or sold by a public agency.
Okay, can I get a motion to go into executive session